welcome to Experiencing Art for Adults. I'm glad that you were able to join us for our Oil Pastel Week. I'm really excited. You will have received oil pastels in your kits, some paper, and then hopefully you go ahead and grab something that you can wipe your hands off with, because oil pastels do tend to get messy. Those of you who have done it with me before kind of know that oil pastels, although they're beautiful, they do leave a little bit of residue behind. So both on your fingers and sometimes on the table and surface that you're working on. So just beware of that. And then today we are going to work on our oil pastel koi fish. So I'm excited and I am thankful that you guys are joining me. So let's have fun. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to pick up your black oil pastel and we'll begin sketching out our koi. So what we'll do though is to sketch out our koi, we'll do a light pressure, not too heavy, not too hard. And we're gonna start by kind of creating a curved line, almost like a wave. And we're going to bring that up and around, and we're gonna stop right here because a fin is gonna come out. And with that fin, we're going to just almost like a basic shape of a triangle, come out with a bit of some curved lines going in, and then you can stop. So hopefully everybody can do kind of some basic shapes as we go forward here. I think we're gonna stop and we're going to go ahead and we're gonna come back to the tail. Take the width of the tail as long as you'd like it, because sometimes those the tails and the fins can be really wispy, and so that kind of makes it really nice. We're gonna curve all the way up. This is going to be the base of the tail. We're gonna make this kind of thin. We're gonna kind of come up, and then we're gonna kind of make the fish kind of come around and curve, because they do a lot of spinning and curving while they're swimming. So we're gonna stop. This is gonna be the other side of the fin, and we're going to do like a basic shape again, like a little triangle. You don't have to be perfect. The oil pastels will end up covering mistakes, trust me. So we'll go do the second side with that kind of basic triangle shape, all right? And then what we're gonna do is we're going to draw, this is gonna be the head of our koi. So the head of our koi, you're gonna have to kind of picture it before you go ahead and lay that oil pastel down. So I think I'm hovering, and this is a very good art technique to hover first. Is this how I like my head? So I think I'm gonna go for this. And what I'm gonna do is a nice big arch, but right up by the nose, I'm gonna make it a little bit more pronounced. So as I go, I'm gonna go this side first, and I'm going to stop kind of by the nose, and I'm gonna make it come out just a little bit. And then I'm gonna come from the other side and I'm going to finish out. There's a little bit of a nose right there. You can even put a more pronounced line there. So the eyes of our koi, we can go ahead and put them right there, right away, right up by the nose. All right, so then what we'll do is we will go ahead and we will actually work on the koi first. One thing that oil pastels are really known for is how messy they can be. So if you draw on the outside first, you have your hand that will be on the oil pastels. If you go ahead and draw on the outside, that's fine, but a lot of techniques are that you would put like a cloth or a napkin down so that you're not putting the palm of your hand inside your work. So with that being said, we're gonna leave the outside until the end, and we're gonna begin working on the colors of our koi. So I would like to start with some reds. And what we'll do is we'll just do patches of reds. We're gonna do a small patch right on the back, and maybe even leaving a thin line on the back of the koi of white. So if you can mimic that, there's kind of, it almost looks like a spine, a white a white linear section on the spine of the koi. Let's leave that white. And then the rest, we're just gonna do a small patch here. We'll do a little bit of a patch there and maybe a patch up by the face, and really put nice thick pressure down on these patches. We will go ahead and we will blend later. So then I think I'm gonna put a little bit of a patch kind of by the tail, and then you can stop. All right, so now you have some red laid down. The next color you're gonna do is you're gonna pick up your orange, and you're going to go on the outside of the red that was laid down. And you can go over the red and it will blend really nicely. But I'm not gonna cover the koi fish completely. I don't want to have my koi have color all over the place, because if you've seen a koi fish, they almost have like an iridescent, like orangey white to them. They're not really perfectly white. I think there are a lot of different kinds of koi actually, and maybe some are very perfectly white, but a lot of them have colors and tones to them that are not a true white. So, but with that said, they're not all fully colored either. So we're just gonna do patches. I've got orange. I'm gonna creep some of this orange down the fin, and I think I'll creep some of this orange up on this side of the fin. There, and I'll pull it like that. I think I'm gonna put a little bit of red down by the belly there. So now that you have some color surrounding the red, what we're going to do is we are going to pick up our white. This is my white. Oil pastels often have dirt or other colors on them, and that's okay, because if you've got that either extra piece of paper or cloth, go ahead and clean your white off on scrap paper or your cloth, and it cleans off beautifully. But I will say it's gonna get color on it again, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna begin to blend some of these colors. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll finish off the rest of the koi. Oh, I think I wanna put, here, follow me. We're gonna get our red again. We're gonna put a little bit of red up on the face of the koi. Sorry about that, we needed a little bit more on the face. All right, now we can pick up our white again. You got a spot for the red on the face? That would be great, okay? And now what we're gonna do is we are going to go ahead and we are gonna lay some of that white down on the parts of the fish that don't have any color on him at all, so that we know that there's a lot of white laid down. But then we're gonna go over all the colors that we just used, and we are going to blend everything together. So once you get a lot of white laid down, then we're gonna work throughout the rest of the fish. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with that spine. That spine, go ahead and blend. This is gonna give that nice, smooth look of paint. I often say oil pastels are a very great introduction to wet paints without having to control the medium of liquid. And so you get a very, very crisp look in all the colors that you're using without having to deal with the liquid. So I'm going over all my colors with very hard pressure, and I am literally blending everything into each other. So working on the fins, you can kind of work in the direction of the way the fin would go. Okay, let's do that on the other side. Working on the fins, you can go over the orange, but work in the direction that the fins would splay out, and then you're gonna get some nice detail there. All right, so we're gonna go over the face, and we're gonna be real careful around the black, and then we'll go ahead and put lots of pressure over that red, and careful around the eyes and the nose, and go over the other side with the red and orange and blend them all together. All right, let's go ahead and work on the other side of this fish. Nice hard pressure and blending the colors all together. All right, now we're working towards the tail of the fish. And then we're gonna work back towards the tail, and again, we're gonna splay out in the direction of that fin, that tail fin. And nice hard pressure so that you can really look like those colors got blended. And we are done with our koi. That's it. I will go ahead and just kind of work details around the eyes, fill in everything that you possibly can as neatly as you can. All right, so the only thing left to do on a koi is to maybe put some stripes on each fin to make it look like there are some segments to the fin. So I've got some black there and maybe some wispy black stripes on the tail fin. And then this is optional. Some koi have dark spots on them, nice sharp black area. And it can be any shape that you want. It can be a spot. Some are really speckled. Some are spotted, some are big spots, some are smaller, and you can put yours anywhere you want. I'm just gonna lay a few in certain spots, kind of making sure not to go over that spine area. All right, so that's our koi fish. And now, just to give the illusion that he is in a pond, we are going to begin with some of the darkest colors of blue around the edges of the koi. So we'll take some dark blue and we'll outline the koi. When you outline the koi, you can go ahead and use some dark pressure, but kind of go in the direction that you think that the water might be going or that he might be going in the water. And it'll give the illusion that there's some movement as he's moving through. If you can see, I'm just kind of pulling darker lines as if he's got some momentum through the water. And then we'll go ahead and outline the rest of the koi with some darker blue, darker pressure, I should say. Darker pressure with this blue. And then maybe not so much dark in the front because he's just breaking through this water for the first time. All right, and so same thing on the opposite side of the koi, put some darker lines as if he's got some movement through this water, this pond. All right, and we're gonna finish out some areas of blue by laying our oil pastel a little bit more horizontal to the page. And we're gonna do some nice lighter strokes, just kind of like you were when you were coloring when you were younger with crayons. And then we're gonna leave some big patches. Both white is going to be white space, and we're gonna fill some of those patches in with some green. So as you are going around with your blue, don't fill the entire page with the blue. Leave some big patches. White is gonna go in, or we're gonna leave some of it white, and then green is gonna go in some of those patches too. All right, so I'm gonna put some in the corner just for some balance. All right. And then you guys can catch up as needed. And then we're gonna pick up our green. You guys should have received green. It doesn't matter if you're gonna use your dark green or your light green, both will work, or either will work, and you can use both. So let's go ahead and whatever green you choose, let's go ahead and put some darker patches of green, and then they end up going lighter towards the outside of the patches, if that makes sense. We're gonna darker, and then a little bit lighter around. And then I'm gonna choose another section over here, darker, and then a little bit lighter pressure around. And these are gonna be a little bit more sporadic. I'm gonna put some green over here, darker, and lighter around. Same thing up here, darker pressure, lighter around here, and a couple more spots in and around the fish. Okay, so we've got some white areas here too, so that's great. I would love for you guys to pick up that white, but before you use it, let's clean it off. It's got to have some orange and some red on it, so clean that off so it's nice and crisp. We're going into the water here. We don't want to drag a lot of the red or the orange in. So what we're going to do with this white is we're going to start with the darker parts of where we were outlining our fish, and we're going to use the white to blend. A lot of times with oil pastels, a lot of people use their fingers, but another technique is to use a lighter color of whatever you're using, and a lot of times white works really well, instead of your finger. And although it's messy anyway, it's just a lot less messy when you're not blending with your finger. I also feel like it gives you a lot more coverage across your page. So this is extreme pressure here with your white. So go ahead and put extreme pressure down over all the blue, over all the green with your white, and blend. Very, very hard pressure. All the way to the corners of the pages so you can get that illusion that we're inside a pond. We're working all the way around the koi with that hard pressure. And sometimes this will go fast, and sometimes if you keep running off the page, it will, the page will catch on, or the oil pastel will catch on the page, and sometimes that can be frustrating. So try to hold your page down on the edge here as you work your way around. All right, lots of pressure. Coming up by the koi, be real careful and just go around that darker part of the koi. All right, so all the corners nice and blended with the white. Oil pastels break all the time. You can use them until they are completely gone. That is good use of oil pastels. Don't throw them away if they break. They're fantastic just to use as little stubs. Mine just broke, and that's why I mentioned that. All right, so as we go forward, we are noticing, you should be noticing, there are a lot of little schnibbles of your oil pastel. We'll take care of those after we're done. We'll go ahead and tap them off very gently. Be sure not to wipe the little schnibbles of oil pastel off with your hands. They will drag the color throughout your piece and will give you an effect you do not want. So we'll tap all that stuff off at the end. All right, we're almost done. Making sure, lots of pressure, get right up to the inside of that fin. Don't go past the fish with the blue, and we should be just about done. All right, so now you've got a wonderful picture or oil pastel of a koi. I think I am gonna take a little blue and I am going to put it by the tail fin so that it looks like he's got translucent, wispiness to this tail that he has, and that you can kind of see the water through parts and pieces of his fin. There we go. Okay, so remember, at the end, do not brush off the schnibbles. We are going to tap them off onto another page. We'll tap it off, and typically all of it will come off if you give it enough of a pat, and then be very careful and get the rest of them off, and hopefully yours looks just as fun and whimsical as mine. Great job, guys.